To whom much is given, much is required. Luke 12:48. Let's start with a truth that might shake you. Being chosen isn't a reward, it's a responsibility. If you've ever felt that deep, unshakable calling inside you, that inner pull that sets you apart from the rest, then this message is meant for you. Not for the curious, not for the casual. This is for the ones who know they're here for something bigger. If you're still watching, then you already know your path isn't like everyone else's. You've felt it in your bones. Life hasn't been easy or normal for you. Your struggles cut deeper, your wins come harder, and your path, it's often walked alone. Why? Because you're different. You've been set apart for a greater mission. But let me be clear. Just because you were chosen once doesn't mean you'll stay chosen forever. Yeah, I said it. You can lose that sacred connection. You can fall out of alignment with your purpose. And that's what this video is really about. Exposing the hidden traps that can quietly pull you away from your calling. This isn't just information. It's activation. If you stick with me, I promise you'll walk away with real tools, ways to protect your purpose and rise even higher on your spiritual path. But if you click away, if you let distractions steal your attention, maybe you're not ready for this kind of depth. Because here's the truth. Being chosen isn't a one-time label. It's a living, breathing relationship with the divine. And like any real relationship, it takes work. It takes focus, humility, and commitment. Let's be honest. Being chosen is hard. Sometimes it feels more like a weight than a blessing. You're tested in ways no one else around you understands. You carry a kind of wisdom that makes you feel older than your years. And let's be real. People often just don't get you. But there's a reason for all of it. The divine doesn't pick the weak. You were chosen because you've got the strength, the courage, and the potential to shift things, to leave a mark on this world. But here's the truth. Most won't say out loud. Your status is conditional. Divine favor flows when you're aligned, when you're disciplined, when you stay humble. But if you drift, if you lose focus, the universe won't wait around. It will move forward, with or without you. So today we're going to shine a light on the silent saboteurs, those sneaky forces that can disconnect you from your purpose. They might show up as bad habits, toxic mindsets, or even people who drain your energy. But make no mistake, these are the things that lower your vibration, break your focus, and pull you off your path. We're going to talk about ego, how pride can blind you to divine light. We'll examine the pitfalls of ignoring discipline, the toxic influences that deplete your energy, and the crippling effect of fear and doubt. Most importantly, we'll discuss the consequences of misusing your spiritual gifts, when the very blessing that distinguishes you becomes a tool for self-serving purposes. But take heart. If you've tripped up, you're not alone. Even those who are chosen can stumble. What really matters is recognizing where you went wrong and correcting your course before it's too late. This message won't resonate with everyone. Some will dismiss it, convinced it doesn't apply to them. But you're still here because you sense this message is meant for you. Deep down, you know truth when you hear it. So let's make a deal. Stick with me until the end. Keep an open heart and listen with your soul. By the time we're finished, you'll have the insight you need to protect your status as a chosen one and elevate your spiritual journey. Before we go further, I want you to think about this. The divine selects those who are prepared, but remaining chosen requires consistent commitment. This video isn't just a cautionary tale, it's a lifeline. It exists to remind you of the sacred contract you carry and to help you avoid the traps that could endanger your purpose. So, are you ready to embark on this journey? Let's start by building awareness of the forces that can sabotage you. What does it mean to be a chosen one? It's not about titles, awards, or public recognition. It's about a sacred alignment, a profound connection to divine energy, and a mission bigger than you. The term chosen one might strike a chord in different ways for different people, but at its core, it signifies a calling to serve a higher purpose, one that demands sacrifice, discipline, and unshakable faith. If you've ever wondered what sets you apart, let's break down what it really means to be chosen. A life characterized by a divine calling. Chosen ones don't pick themselves. They're singled out by a force far more powerful. This calling often reveals itself early in life, sometimes as a gentle whisper, sometimes as a booming voice that rattles your entire being. Have you experienced it? That relentless push nudging you toward something greater? It's as if life itself conspires to steer you onto a path you never planned for, yet deep down, you recognize it as yours. Being chosen means living in harmony with your calling. It's not just about having spiritual abilities. It's about using those gifts to fulfill a higher purpose. Whether you're meant to heal, share wisdom, or drive transformative change, your role is uniquely yours. No one else can do it exactly like you. Still, there's a paradox. This calling often comes with trials. The divine chooses those who can endure hardship, trusting that these experiences will refine instead of destroy them. At the core of being chosen is a sacred contract, a spiritual agreement made between your soul and the divine before you were born. This contract spells out your purpose and the duties attached to it. Being chosen is no small matter. The divine gives you extraordinary gifts and expects you to use them wisely. These gifts might include heightened intuition, a talent for inspiring people, or a profound understanding of spiritual truths. But with great power comes great responsibility. Your sacred contract requires you to stay true, humble, and faithful, even when the road is tough. Straying from your purpose doesn't just affect you, it ripples outward, influencing those you were intended to help and uplift. What distinguishes you from others isn't a sense of superiority, it's the energy you carry. Those who are chosen resonate at a higher frequency, which can make them feel different or even alienated. You're highly intuitive and sense things others don't. Whether it's reading people's emotions, foreseeing outcomes, or picking up on the energy in a room, this intuition is your compass, guiding you to fulfill your mission. Your life may seem to attract tests and challenges. It can feel like you're constantly being tested. But these aren't punishments. They're lessons designed to prepare you for your calling. Each obstacle is a form of spiritual training, shaping you for the responsibilities that come with being chosen. You feel a profound connection to the divine, whether through prayer, meditation, or moments of complete stillness. You've felt the unmistakable presence of the divine, and this bond gives you the strength to remember you're never truly alone. Here's the truth few people share. Being chosen is both a gift and a burden. Yes, the blessings are significant. Your abilities and insights can change lives, including your own. But the burden is just as real. Many chosen ones feel misunderstood, even by the people closest to them. Your journey can require periods of solitude, which may be isolating. Yet in that solitude lies another gift, the quiet you need to hear the divine's guidance more clearly. The weight of your calling can feel overwhelming. You're not just living for yourself, you have a mission that touches countless others. Unlike most people, you're held to a higher standard. The divine calls you to lead by example, to stand in truth even when it's inconvenient. But remember, Duality isn't here to break you, it's here to shape you. That tension between blessing and burden is what stretches you into your greatest potential. At its heart, being a chosen one is about alignment, living in harmony with your sacred contract and divine purpose. When you're in alignment, everything flows. You feel connected, empowered, and guided by something greater than yourself. When you're out of alignment, life gets chaotic. Doors close, energy fades, and doubt creeps in. Staying aligned isn't about being perfect, it's about being persistent. Alignment requires consistent daily practices that nurture your link to the divine. Meditation, prayer, journaling, or even a moment of quiet reflection can help you remain centered. As a chosen one, you're meant to be a light for others, whether you realize it or not. People are drawn to your energy, your insight, and your authenticity. Through you, they glimpse what's possible when a person lives in harmony with a higher calling. Still, this influence is a responsibility. Use it wisely, lead with humility, and never forget that your gifts come from a source greater than you. To be chosen is to walk a sacred path, filled with challenges, blessings, and profound opportunities to grow. It's not an easy road, but it's a deeply meaningful one. If you're wondering whether you're a chosen one, ask yourself if these words resonate at your core. If they do, then yes, you're chosen. You've been set apart for a reason. Honor that calling, protect it, and most importantly, live it. The world needs you now more than ever. The silent saboteurs. What could cause you to lose your status? Being a chosen one is both a privilege and a responsibility, but it's not something guaranteed forever. Even if you've been set apart by a higher power, staying in alignment with your calling depends on your actions, your mindset, and your spiritual discipline. The forces that strip away your chosen status aren't always obvious. They slip in quietly, disguised as habits, attitudes, or outside influences. Let's shine a light on these silent saboteurs and examine how they can dismantle you, your connection to divine purpose, ego, and spiritual arrogance. The ego is a master of disguise. It can weave itself into spiritual life so subtly that you barely notice it. For chosen ones, it's a particularly dangerous trap. What starts as genuine alignment with a divine calling can morph into a sense of superiority, distorting the sacred path you're meant to follow. Where there was once humility in communion with a higher power, pride can creep in and spiritual arrogance can take hold. This silent saboteur works through whispers, persuading you that being chosen makes you better, more deserving, or more enlightened than everyone else. The ego thrives on separation, building walls between you and the people you're called to serve. Authentic chosen status is rooted in humility, service, and surrender to divine will, but ego flips the script, turning your spiritual gifts into tools for self-aggrandizement. Instead of seeing your purpose as a way to uplift others, ego convinces you that you're the source of the light, rather than a vessel for it. That illusion is where the real trouble begins. As soon as spiritual arrogance takes root, it starts to isolate you. People can feel the energy shift when humility is replaced by pride, and they'll distance themselves. Before long, you're disconnected from the very community you were meant to guide. That isolation is more than a social problem. It's also a spiritual one. The divine can't flow freely through a heart that's clouded by ego. Another consequence of ego is a distorted view of your own mission. You may begin focusing on your own interests rather than genuinely serving others. A calling once dedicated to spreading wisdom, healing, or love turns into a path toward recognition, power, or control. This pivot cuts you off from the higher force that chose you in the first place, because the divine chooses those who are willing to serve, not those looking to dominate. Ego also blocks growth. It convinces you that you've already arrived, that there's nothing more to learn or ways to evolve. This stagnation is risky for chosen ones, because the spiritual journey requires ongoing refinement and development. Once you stop growing, you lose your alignment with your true calling. The ego doesn't usually make a grand entrance. It seeps in quietly, often mistaken for confidence or conviction, making it that much harder to detect. The key to overcoming these obstacles is to cultivate humility. True humility doesn't mean denying your abilities or diminishing your purpose. It means recognizing that these gifts aren't truly yours. They are sacred tools entrusted to you for a greater mission. Humility reestablishes your bond with the divine and reminds you that your calling as a chosen one is rooted in service, not self-importance. It aligns you with universal principles of love, compassion, and surrender, clearing a path for divine energy to flow freely through you. Humility keeps you grounded in gratitude, reminding you at every step that a higher power is guiding your journey. Staying aligned requires constant self-awareness. The path of a chosen one demands vigilance because ego is relentless, always looking for a way to reassert itself. When you sense it creeping in, pause and examine your motives. Ask whether your actions come from a place of love and service or from a desire for validation and recognition. Renew your commitment to your calling, remembering that the divine chose you not because you were flawless, but because you were willing. Ego may try to steer you off course, but humility will always bring you back. The divine does not seek perfection. It seeks sincerity. Stay humble, stay grounded, and remember, your gifts are meant to be shared, not hoarded. In humility lies your genuine strength as a chosen one. Lack of discipline. Discipline forms the foundation of your role as a chosen one. Without it, your connection to the divine purpose starts to fade, and the energy that once coursed through you begins to wane. Being chosen isn't just a title. It's an ongoing commitment. Discipline is the bridge that keeps you in sync with your higher self and the divine forces leading you. When discipline falters, everything else begins to unravel. The journey of a chosen one relies on consistency. Your spiritual gifts are not static. They're dynamic and need nurturing. Like a flame, they must be tended, or they risk burning out. Practices such as meditation, prayer, grounding, and self-reflection aren't optional. They're essential. These rituals aren't just acts of devotion. They're acts of alignment, keeping you closely connected to your purpose and to the higher power that chose you. When discipline slips, you leave the door open for distraction and disconnection. The chaos of everyday life starts to take over your energy, pulling you away from the clarity and dedication required to fulfill your purpose. This separation doesn't happen overnight. It sneaks in gradually, disguised as simple neglect. Maybe you skip a day of meditation or put off a moment of stillness, assuming it's no big deal. But over time, these small lapses build up, creating an ever-widening gap between you and your spiritual center. The absence of discipline leaves room for negativity to creep in. When you don't have a regular practice to clear your energy, you become more vulnerable to outside influences that lower your vibration. Stress, fear, doubt, and even toxic relationships can start weighing you down, clouding your path and making it harder to stay in tune with your purpose. These forces gain strength when spiritual upkeep is neglected, creating more distance between you and your calling. Discipline isn't about perfection. It's about persistence. Many chosen ones mistakenly see losing their way as failure, but the real failure is not returning to the path. Discipline isn't a rigid set of restrictions. It's a commitment to realign, no matter how many times you slip. Without discipline, your spiritual gifts might start to fade. These gifts aren't yours to own permanently. They're entrusted to you for a higher purpose. The divine grants them to those who are willing to nurture them. But if you don't honor that responsibility, the gifts naturally diminish. It's not a punishment. It's simply what happens when you drift away from the energy that sustains them. A lack of discipline also means missing out on opportunities. The divine works through synchronicity, opening doors and guiding you toward moments of growth and service. If you're not in tune with your purpose, you may miss these chances. Without consistent spiritual practices, you lose the sensitivity needed to spot and act on divine guidance. Rebuilding discipline begins with small, intentional steps. It's not about overhauling your life overnight. Start by doing one thing each day that grounds you, whether that's sitting quietly for 5 minutes, saying a heartfelt prayer, or writing in your journal. These little actions make waves over time, gradually renewing your connection to the divine. Consistency is key. Show up for your practices even when you're not in the mood. Spiritual discipline isn't about waiting for motivation. It's about honoring your sacred commitment, even when it feels inconvenient. Little by little, these faithful moments of dedication strengthen your connection, making it easier to stay aligned. And remember, discipline isn't just about you. It affects everyone around you. Your energy, your actions, and your presence have an impact on the people you're meant to guide and uplift. Neglecting discipline doesn't just hold you back. It holds back those who need you too. The divine chose you for your potential, your willingness, and your strength. But remaining chosen is an ongoing commitment. Discipline is the key to staying connected with the flow of divine energy in your life. It's not about perfection. It's about consistently showing up for yourself, your purpose, and the higher power guiding you. When discipline becomes a way of life, you build an unshakable foundation. Life's storms may hit, but your bond with the divine will remain strong. Through discipline, you honor your calling as a chosen one and make sure your light continues to shine brightly in a world that needs it more than ever. Toxic relationships and negative influences. Relationships are deeply significant for everyone, but for chosen ones, they carry even more weight. The people around you can either elevate you or pull you away from your divine mission. Toxic relationships and negative influences are some of the most subtle yet destructive forces capable of undermining your standing as a chosen one. They don't just wear on your emotions. They infiltrate your energy, cloud your judgment, and separate you from the divine alignment that distinguishes you. Your energy is a precious resource. It fuels your spiritual gifts and keeps you in harmony with your mission. Toxic relationships, however, act like energy vampires, gradually draining your vitality and focus. They aren't always obvious threats. They can appear as friends, relatives, romantic partners, or colleagues. Their destructive influence may not be apparent at first, but over time, their negativity erodes your peace and clarity. Toxic relationships often involve constant criticism, manipulation, or emotional turbulence. They can cause you to doubt your self-worth or your purpose. These individuals may fail to grasp your calling and may even mock or dismiss it, planting seeds of uncertainty in your mind. Coming from a place of fear, envy, or unresolved pain, their energy can seep into yours, making it harder to remain rooted in your divine truth. One of the most dangerous aspects of toxic relationships is how they often disguise themselves in familiarity. This makes it challenging to see their true impact, and you may feel compelled to maintain these connections out of loyalty, guilt, or a sense of obligation. Yet, as a chosen one, Your ultimate loyalty is to your purpose and the higher forces leading you. Allowing toxic influences to persist in your life harms not only you, but also the work you are meant to carry out in the world. Negative influences go beyond personal relationships. They can also be found in certain environments, media, or even habits that lower your spiritual frequency. Engaging with constant negativity, whether through the news, social media, or toxic settings, reduces your spiritual sensitivity and makes it harder to notice divine guidance. These influences bombard you with noise and turmoil instead of clarity and enlightenment. Protecting your energy isn't selfish. It's a vital act of spiritual self-preservation. Boundaries are crucial. Setting them doesn't mean you don't care about others. It means you're fiercely protective of your mission and the divine energy that sustains you. Boundaries create a secure environment where you can flourish, evolve, and maintain alignment with your higher purpose. Breaking ties with toxic relationships or influences doesn't mean you're abandoning anyone. It means you're choosing to honor your own path. You can love from a distance and still guard your energy. Release any guilt you may feel about establishing boundaries. Remember, your role as a chosen one includes modeling self-respect and spiritual alignment for others. Healing from the damage caused by toxic relationships demands intentional work. Start by acknowledging their effect on you. Recognize the pain, self-doubt, or disconnect they might have triggered. Then, commit to clearing and restoring your energy. Engage in practices that bring you back to center, whether that's meditation, prayer, or reconnecting with nature. Surround yourself with uplifting people, inspiring settings, and habits that feed your soul. The divine has selected you for a purpose, one that calls for clarity, focus, and resilience. Toxic influences are merely distractions meant to derail you from your sacred mission. By letting them go, you free up space for divine energy to move through your life unobstructed. You were never chosen to carry burdens that don't serve you. Release what holds you back. Protect your energy, honor your journey, and surround yourself with those who champion your growth. In doing so, you reinforce your identity as a chosen one, ready to embody your divine purpose with clarity and power. Fear and doubt. Fear and doubt are the subtle but persistent saboteurs of the chosen. They creep in unannounced, casting long shadows on your faith and rattling your spiritual foundation. These forces don't just test your spiritual walk, they threaten to undo it entirely. They stand in direct opposition to alignment and serve as barriers to the divine flow of energy within you. As a chosen one, your path often lacks the comfort of certainty. You feel called to something larger than yourself, but it seldom comes with a clear set of directions. This ambiguity can allow fear to take root. Fear of failing, of being judged, or even of embracing your own power. It can make you doubt whether you're truly fit to fulfill your holy mandate. Doubt, in turn, questions the legitimacy of your calling, asking, are you really chosen? Is this real, or just a fabrication of your mind? Are you truly worthy? These nagging thoughts can overpower you, and when left unchecked, they erode the bond between you and your purpose. Fear makes you freeze when it's time to move, and doubt pulls you back just as you're meant to step forward. Together, they trap you in a loop of hesitation and second-guessing, leaving you stuck, uncertain, and disconnected. But their impact goes deeper than just your thoughts. They seep into your energy, lowering your vibration and creating distance between you and the divine. That disconnect can show up in all kinds of ways: confusion, a lack of inspiration, emotional heaviness, even physical fatigue. The longer fear and doubt linger, the harder it becomes to feel aligned with your higher calling. But here's the truth. Feeling fear and doubt doesn't make you weak. It makes you human. Even the strongest, most spiritually grounded people wrestle with uncertainty. What matters is what you do with those feelings. Fear and doubt aren't your enemies. They're opportunities. Every time you meet them with faith, you become stronger and more deeply connected to the divine. The first step in overcoming them is simply awareness. Don't judge yourself for feeling them. Don't push them down or pretend they're not there. That only gives them more control. Instead, recognize them for what they are. Temporary emotions, not your identity. They're reactions, not reality. When fear shows up, ground yourself in faith. Faith isn't about having all the answers. It's about trusting the process, even when the road ahead is unclear. Reconnect with the divine through prayer, meditation, journaling, or just sitting quietly in your own presence. Remind yourself of all the times you've been guided, protected, or lifted through challenges. Those moments weren't accidents. They're evidence that you're not alone, and that you can move through fear with strength and grace. When doubt creeps in, come back to your why. Revisit the calling that makes you a chosen one. What fuels your soul? What signs, moments, or experiences have confirmed that your path is divinely guided? Reconnect to that truth, because that's what drowns out doubt. That's what brings you back to center. Also, don't walk this journey alone. Fear and doubt love to grow in silence and isolation. But when you're surrounded by people who lift you up, mentors, friends, spiritual communities, their power starts to fade. Let yourself be supported. Let others remind you of who you are when you forget. Fear and doubt may never vanish completely, but they don't have to run the show. Every step you take in faith, every choice to keep going, chips away at their grip. Keep choosing faith. Keep choosing your purpose. As a chosen one, you're not called to rise above life's challenges because you're immune to them, but because you've been given everything you need to conquer them. You hold more power than the fears that try to paralyze you and the doubts that whisper lies in your ear. Never forget, the divine chose you intentionally, with purpose. Trust that calling. Lean into faith. Keep moving forward. Fear and doubt might try to shake your foundation, but they can only pull you off your path if you let them. Keep choosing faith over fear, purpose over hesitation, and you'll stay in alignment with your sacred mission. Misuse of spiritual gifts. Your spiritual gifts are not random. They're a sacred trust, given to you by the divine for a higher purpose. As a chosen one, these gifts aren't just talents or special abilities. They're meant to be tools for transformation, meant to heal, uplift, and guide others. But with this spiritual power comes deep responsibility. Misusing your gifts is one of the quickest ways to disconnect from the divine flow and jeopardize your alignment with your calling. And here's the thing. Misuse doesn't always come with bad intentions. It can start off subtly, rooted in ego, fear, or unchecked temptation. Maybe you use your intuition to sway someone's decision for your own benefit. Maybe your insights start feeding your pride instead of grounding you in humility. Or maybe you begin to use your spiritual authority to control instead of empower. These choices, however minor they may seem, shift your vibration and begin to pull you away from your purpose. At its heart, misusing your spiritual gifts is a betrayal of the sacred agreement you made with the divine. These gifts aren't yours to use however you want. They were entrusted to you to serve something greater than yourself. When you misuse them, they lose their power. The divine energy that fuels them starts to fade, leaving you disconnected from the very source that called you. And the consequences aren't just external. The damage shows up internally too, in your spirit, your clarity, and your alignment. Every time you act out of self-interest instead of divine service, you create spiritual friction within yourself. That dissonance clouds your perception, weakens your discernment, and erodes your connection to the divine. If you want to stay aligned, you must approach your gifts with humility, gratitude, and unwavering integrity. Ask yourself before using them, is this serving the greater good? Is this in alignment with why I was chosen? When you use your gifts to uplift and serve others with a selfless heart, those gifts begin to flourish. The divine energy fueling them becomes stronger, and your spiritual alignment deepens. Always remember, your gifts were never meant to serve only you. They're an extension of divine grace flowing through you for a greater purpose. Honor them. Use them wisely. When you do, they remain a source of light, strength, and guidance in your life. But if you misuse them or let ego take the lead, they can fade, along with the sacred connection that makes you a chosen one. Staying aligned with your sacred path. Walking the path of the chosen isn't easy, but it's powerful, transformative, and deeply meaningful. It's a journey filled with opportunities to grow, to serve, and to embody the divine mission you were called to fulfill. Along the way, you'll face obstacles, temptations, doubts, distractions, but staying aligned doesn't mean being perfect. It means being committed. It means having the humility to recognize when you've drifted off course and the courage to return to alignment. The subtle saboteurs, ego, lack of discipline, toxic connections, fear, doubt, and the misuse of spiritual gifts are not signs that you've failed. They're part of the process. They're spiritual checkpoints, asking you to slow down, reassess, and reconnect. Every chosen one will face them. What matters is how you respond. The key is honest reflection and intentional course correction. Remember, your calling is bigger than you. It's about the lives you're here to impact and the energy you're meant to bring into the world. That perspective will keep you grounded when challenges arise. When you see your role as part of something divine and far-reaching, it becomes easier to let go of the need for validation, control, or recognition. Discipline is your lifeline. Daily practices like meditation, prayer, journaling, or simply being still in nature aren't chores. They're sacred acts. They help you tune into the higher frequencies of love, of truth, and purpose. Even when life gets chaotic, showing up for these practices tells the universe you're still in, still committed to your calling. Protecting your energy is just as important. Surround yourself with people and places that lift you up, that inspire clarity and joy. Don't be afraid to let go of what weighs you down, even if it's uncomfortable. Detachment isn't abandonment. It's an act of love for yourself, for your peace, and for the mission you've been trusted with. The more you make space for light and growth, the more freely divine guidance can flow through your life. When fear and doubt creep in, meet them with unwavering faith. Faith doesn't mean having all the answers. It means moving forward even when the path ahead isn't clear. Trust that you were chosen for a reason. Every step you take, even the ones that feel unsure or difficult, is a part of your growth. What may seem like obstacles are actually invitations to rise higher and align more deeply with your divine purpose. As someone called to walk this path, your true strength lies in humility. Remember, your gifts aren't just yours. They're a reflection of divine grace flowing through you. Approach your journey with gratitude, knowing that being chosen is both a blessing and a responsibility. Lead with love, act with integrity, and serve with an open heart. When you do, divine energy will keep moving through you, guiding and sustaining your every step. You are here on purpose. You're part of something much bigger than yourself. And your light holds the power to inspire, to heal, and to awaken others. Stay committed, not because the road is smooth, but because your presence on it is necessary. The world needs what you carry, and the divine is trusting you to honor the sacred role you've accepted. In moments of uncertainty, hold tight to this truth. You were chosen because you can. You were chosen because you are ready. You were chosen because the divine sees something powerful in you that the world desperately needs. Protect your energy. Stay grounded in your truth. Walk your path with courage, grace, and faith. This journey isn't a one-time calling. It's a lifelong unfolding of purpose, growth, and divine connection. Stay true to your path. Stay humble, and let your light shine with everything you've got. You were chosen for a reason, and you are never walking this journey alone. Thanks for watching all the way through. If this message resonated with you, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and tap that notification bell so you never miss a new upload. Drop your thoughts and stories in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. Let's keep building this powerful community of souls committed to spiritual growth and becoming our highest selves. Stay blessed and never stop shining your light. See you next time.